But we're here today to talk about various problems like condensation, air loss, and friction. This is what we call the return air. I just want to give you a basic idea of what the system does. This is the return air. The air comes up through your filter grill, passes through your return air, through your furnace, through your transition, through your coil. This is what they call an evaporator coil. It extracts the heat from the air, and it goes into your plenum. Your plenum is like a distribution box. It distributes air throughout the house. So the tighter the system is, the better off you are. In other words, you don't want to air condition your attic. So you want to seal all the joints. You want to seal around what we call a starting collar. You want to put mastic. Then you want to attach your duct. Right now, we moved the duct because it was on the floor, right in the way of the furnace, too close to the burner. So we're going to move it. We're going to put it up on top, and we're going to suspend it from the ceiling. This is called the inner liner. It's a spiral X. It has a wire core in it. We're going to attach that spiral X, that inner liner, over the starting collar. Okay. Two ways you can do this. We could paint mastic on the starting collar, which is going to be one way, and I'm going to show you the other way in a second. By painting mastic on it, seals it. So not only that when you strap it, it keeps the air on the inside of the unit as opposed to on the outside. Now we're going to take the spiral X or the inner liner and we're going to put it over the starting collar. Takes a little time. Then we take a duct strap and we put that strap around the inner liner. We cinch it down. Now there's two ways. For the average person, the average layman, he can very well use a pair of dikes to tighten up his strap, pull it, then he has to clip it. Being an air conditioning man, I use what they call a strap gun. It cinches it tight, then it cuts it. So now the inner liner is sealed to the mastic, not only with the mastic itself, but also with the duct strap. Now, important to pull the insulation all the way down to the plenum. You don't want to have that condensation, that cold air on that metal hitting this hot air in this attic. Some people like to use duct straps after, some people don't. I called the manufacturer, is a flexible duct manufacturer, and he says that the half-inch duct straps are fine over the insulation. It does not cause that much of a problem as far as compression of the duct. And there we go. Now, you want to avoid this. You want to avoid this kinking here because that restricts your airflow. You want to get it up where it has that nice round bend. So what we're going to do today is we're going to put some slings, duct saddle slings. Now there's two ways you can do it. You can do it with a screw gun, a drill. You can drill it and put it up in here like this. Or if you don't have one, you can use a staple gun. Now you can see that duct is up. Here, if you can see the discoloration in your insulation, it tells you that the unit is drawing air out of the attic into the return air. So the problem is it's not sealed, so we're going to have to move the insulation out the way, pull it back, and as you can see there's a gap in between your joist and the piece of ductboard. So we're going to make an attempt to put mastic on that joint to seal it up.
do this all around.
You have to do this all around the plenum, the return air plenum. This is done all four sides of your return air plenum. Makes a big difference. You're drawing heat that's in your attic and you're mixing it with the air that's in your house. So your real cold air warms up. Not to mention the fact that your coil gets dirty because this portion here is above your filter. So you want to make sure that you do all four sides of it. Then after you've finished, after you seal all your return air, you want to take and push your insulation back up against your plenum. Another thing you want to do, you want to look for leaks that cause condensation. There are simple methods, like we call it the TP test. You can actually see that air blowing out of the starting collar because it wasn't sealed next to the plenum. Also this one here, look. Blowing pretty good. So we got a lot of air loss right here. One thing we have to do now is we have to disconnect the flexible duct and seal that up so that we can get away from that leaking. This is the insulation. You pull back the insulation. As you can see now, there's no strap, no duct strap. There's no kind of sealant. So you're going to have a problem with that. So you want to wipe this off, and then you want to come back with some simple tape. Yeah, this is what I want to do. Especially when you got a big crack like this. That cold air coming out, seeping out there, has caused this collar to rust. You can see the rust on the outside. So what you want to do is you want to seal it up with tape to keep it from pulling away. This is metal tape. It can be bought at some air conditioning supply houses. You can buy it at Lowe's. No more duct tape is allowed in the attic. Not on any air conditioning system, that is. And the reason for that is it dries out. Over a period of time it dries out, it cracks. Now we're going to apply some mastic. We're going to apply some mastic over the tape. We want to seal this really tight. You want to make sure that your damper is nice and snug, because if it's not, it's going to rattle. Come back with your inner liner. You slide it over all the way up as tight as you can get it, and you put a duct strap. Choose to use a pair of lineman pliers, you can do that. Again, I like it nice and snug. So now we've sealed the duct to the mastic to the collar. Now we're going to slide the insulation on top of everything. And we want to make sure that not just the foil paper is going up against the plenum, we want to see that the insulation is all the way up there. Then we want to seal it again with another strap, tie it up so it doesn't pull off. All the joints on your furnace, on your plenum, on your transition and your coils, they all should be taped and sealed. This particular joint is losing a lot of air. So we're gonna put some mastic tape on it. It's a very sticky, heavy tape, and it does well with joints. If you have a squeegee, it's a good idea to run your squeegee over your joints to make sure that the mastic's sealed all the way down. Joints where you have your copper tubing line set attaching to your coil, you want to keep from putting mastic there, because if you develop a leak, you got to pull that tape out in order to fix it. And once you put that mastic, very difficult to get it away. This is what we call a pre-insulated box. It's the box that attaches to your grill from downstairs in your room. You can see on the corners of the box, you see airflow escaping. You want to seal that up as well. You want to try to keep the duct as level as possible. You want to avoid this kinking at this point because it restricts your airflow. In this particular case, we're going to use this duct saddle. You don't want to compress this insulation, you just want to wrap it around. This is what you want to try to get away from. You want to get away from this duct laying on your plywood, making these bends like that. The code says that for every 5 feet, every span, you cannot have no more than a ½ inch sag per foot in that 5-foot section, which accumulates 2½ inches.